Hi folks, Doc here. It's a gorgeous day here at Area 51. We've got a lot going on today. We've got tractors being worked on, bikes being worked on, paint and primer, more tractors being worked on. God, I hope he's not dead lying there. Are you dead? No. Thank you. And I did some stuff to Fugazi, which is why we're here today. I'm going to show you some of the treatments that I've done to Fugazi. So stick around, we'll show you. Alright, so the focal point, literally, is Fugazi's new bumper, which I just finished doing. Put the paint on it last night and got it all back together again. And that's made out of 1 inch and 3/4 inch electrical conduit, otherwise known as EMT. Now, as I'm looking at this thing, you're going to say, wow, those welds are kind of big and prominent. And yeah, they are. Unfortunately, I didn't have the right welding wire. I had some 35 thou. I needed 25 thou. Didn't have it, so I just used what I had and said, to hell with it, don't care, it's a bumper. Looking in overhead, you can see that I contoured the bumper to more or less match the front of the machine, or at least enough that it just didn't look like this big, straight, stupid looking thing. And the upper hoop, I rolled forward, so it's not straight up and down. You can also see that I capped the open ends of the tube so that they wouldn't collect a bunch of mud and goo and crap in there. Looking at the brackets, you can see that the brackets give me about 2 inches of rise. And the reason that I did that was so that the bumper would sit higher. I didn't want something that was going to act like an anchor in the mud and in the crappy conditions that I was going to be driving in. And I did not like the looks of the bumper hanging down low. So I designed those brackets out of some 1/4 inch steel plate that I had kicking around. You can see by random holes in it that it was just scrap leftover plate. And after mocking up the bumper and playing with it, I decided that that was a good height. I didn't want it sitting down any lower than that. And I just used one of the existing holes in that steel plate to run a shackle through as a tow point. Another feature that I worked out in Fugazi here was the hood stay. And I put a lot of thought into this. You know, I'm lifting the hood up and what's holding it up. And I thought about gas shocks and I thought about springs, and I even played with a spring-loaded door hinge that you use for commercial doors that might spring-load it, and I could add it to these hinges or replace these hinges so it would hold it up and then, you know, latch it down. Too complex. Here's what I did. Sometimes you just got to go with what works. The lowly prop rod has been an automotive standard for 100 years plus. It's simple, it's effective, it's not failure prone, you know, it's reasonably lightweight, it doesn't require a lot of stupid engineering. The simple prop rod. So I used a metal electrical cable clip up here and one down here, and I bent one up here to catch the rod, and I just took a piece of 1/4 inch steel rod in my vise, heated, bent to shape, blah 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 blah. And that's all I needed. The hood's not coming down, I can run the engine, it's stable, it's hooked in there. Simple yet effective. That was my solution. So, clip the rod into the little clip there. Presto bingo, Bob's your uncle. Okay, so one of the other things that I needed to work out with Fugazi here was a toolbox. And although I'm trying to keep this thing, you know, reasonably lightweight and whatnot, there are some things that I am going to have to carry around just to make sure that I'm not completely skunked in the event of, you know, the smallest kind of emergency or mishap. Now, underneath the seat is the battery, and had I relocated the battery to behind the dashboard, like Todd did, then I could sink a toolbox in the back, and that's all fine and good. However, that being said, I did not desire to have any further forward weight bias than I already have. So if I had moved the battery up, I'd be adding weight forward. If anything, you know, I want to take weight off the front end. So with that being said, you know, I had to give a lot of thought about where I'm going to put a toolbox. And I thought about putting the toolbox right there where the battery would be if I moved it forward. And that didn't really work for me either. I need access to be able to get at that panel here for getting at the electrical stuff under the dashboard there. And although I could have made the toolbox removable, I didn't want anything in the way. And then there was that weight bias thing. So I had to let the metal gears turn a little bit. So as you guys know, ammo cans are particularly useful, and I've had them on my tractors before, and I will again. Here is what I did. Alright, so we've got the standard ammo can there. And I've got it mounted right to the rear above the resonator. There's a bit of an air gap there so that, you know, things don't get too hot. There's enough airflow, that'll be fine. Now mounting this thing presented a bit of a challenge. Now here's the thing. With it sitting in place, as you can see, I have no prayer of getting this latch open. So I got a little bit creative. Here is what I did. You can see underneath here a piano hinge. And right now it's kind of that olive drab color because I stole it from my generator box for the moment. So I'll have to replace that, but I've got that hinge there. And I've got this rubber hood stay here. Pop that, and the can drops enough that you can get at this latch and open it up. Presto bingo, there is the toolbox. So all I did was I trimmed the fender pan wide enough for it to fit and took it all the way back to the back plate of the chassis there. Now, you can see I haven't got this cotter pin spread, and I'm using some metal screws in there. And, well, you can't see it. I'll shoot you inside the can here if you can see that. I've got screws protruding through there. I'm going to be replacing the screws in the can with rivets, and I'm going to be sticking some sealant in before I rivet it, the hinge in place, you know, so that this thing once again becomes completely waterproof, because that's kind of the idea here. Oh yeah, and looking right there, you can see the filter I've got on my transaxle vent tube to keep the crap out of it. But anyways, I digress. I'm going to paint these brackets. I'm going to paint the whole ammo can. And then when I'm done dealing with all of that, try and do this one-handed. When I'm done dealing with all of that, then I'm going to remount it and replace some of the screws with rivets. But there you go. That is my toolbox solution for Fugazi. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, is the hinge a permanent fixture? Well, yes it is. I have no need to remove the toolbox and take it away. I don't have to take it out for anything, but I did need it to swing away in order to be able to open up the latch. So, once again, piece of cake. Boom, there it is. Alright, so there you have a look at the latest feature upgrades on Fugazi. And as far as what is going to go in the toolbox, that's going to be the subject of another video. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed having a look at the bumper and the prop rod and the toolbox in the back of the machine. And stick around because there is definitely going to be more. Until next time, take care of yourself.